right. Good morning, everyone. It is early, but it's got to be one of the most interesting uh, videos I think I've ever done. Um, yesterday was fun. Yesterday was fun. I love a good disruption in the political system. Speaker McCarthy has been thrown out of his leadership chair, which is just entertaining. Entertaining, and I think really, really good for the system. So, before we get into the Speaker McCarthy ouster by Congressman Gates and seven other Republicans with an actual spine, um, quick reminder that on October 14th at noon at the Capitol, we will be having our rally with gun owners from across the state. We hope to have a ton of you there. Excited to see you guys at the Capitol. Uh, just total chaos in the country right now, and this is a great time for gun owners to get together to game plan what our future holds for us here in Idaho and the things that we got to work on as a state in regard to gun rights. Now, it's been really, really fascinating to watch the reactions to McCarthy getting tossed yesterday. To some extent, I was a little surprised, a little bit, that the Democrats actually went along with it, just because, I'm sure they want the chaos within the Republican Party, but you know, we've seen this kind of here in Idaho sometimes, where a lot of times the Democrats will join up with uh, the rhinos, and the Democrats and the rhinos usually stick together on stuff because they have a lot of common interests, right? It's a uniparty, and so I was actually kind of shocked that the Democrats went along with it, because I don't they're not going to get one of their own, and Gates and somebody that's an actual conservative is probably not going to replace McCarthy. But here's the thing. Here's why I think this is a good thing for our system. Um, First, let's debunk this whole, like, well, this isn't the right time, Greg. There's a right time and a place to do this. No, no, there never is. I promise you. There is not one day that you could ask those people, okay, is today the day? No, definitely not today. Well, what about right now? Like, if you'd done it a month into McCarthy's speakership, they'd be like, well, we've got to give him more time, right? And they didn't want to do it right now because it's the end of, we got the budget bills and all that kind of stuff. And now everything's on hold until we get a new speaker. And then if you did it next year, they'd be like, well, we can't do it during the election year, Greg. It's an election year. And if we do it during the election year, then they're just not going to go our way. And so we've really got to hold off until, and yet, so there's never a good time. I promise you. You know how I know this? This is why I was laughing yesterday, watching the reactions from some of these other congressmen who were all upset about it, or even some of the quote unquote conservative pundits who were mad about this, is when we were doing the constitutional carry fight. And for those of you that were around for that fight and were watching what we were putting out back in 2013 and 2014, okay, a long time ago, um, when I first went to the Capitol in 2013 in Boise to fight for constitutional carry, they were like, Greg, this just isn't a good year to do it. What we really need to do is do it during the election year. I was like, okay, well, sure. Well, let's just do it during the election year. Came back in 2014. Guess what? Greg, we really don't want to rock the boat in an election year. This isn't the year to do it. And I was like, wait a minute here. There's only 2 years, right? Our state legislators are reelected every 2 years, or run for election every 2 years, I should say. So if it's not good in the non-election year and it's not good in the election year, then when is a good time to do constitutional carry? That was my question in 2015. I'm like, you guys are out of your freaking minds. Like, now I get it. You're lying to me. You're sending me down a rabbit hole that has no end. You don't ever want to pass constitutional carry. That's the truth. Okay? So this thing that happened yesterday, and all the excuses of, well, it's not the right time. You got to do it in the right time and the right. Shut up. Like, seriously. There is no right time for these swamp creatures, okay? And it's not even just the swamp creatures. There's some good congressmen who vote the right way most of the time that they didn't even stand up. Hey, this was a time. This was really a good scenario for the rest of them to go, you know what? We can do better than Speaker McCarthy, who had broken a lot of his promises. Well, didn't he do some good things? I'm not saying that he everything he did was bad. I'm just saying that this was a chance for them to show, and they used the process. Matt Gaetz used the process that Speaker McCarthy agreed to, by the way. He just didn't think anybody was actually going to do it. Okay? Because these swamp creatures, they make these deals and they don't expect to be held accountable. They don't expect someone to actually stand up to them and do the right thing. So, no, there's never a right time. I promise you. There is well, the right time will be in 2024 after or 2025 after that Speaker McCarthy has had his time and once we build up a big majority in the Capitol, Greg, that's when we can really go after them. No, you know what their excuse is going to be if the Republicans have a let's say a I don't know 65% majority in both chambers, okay, and control the White House. By the way, let's say that they control all of it. Their excuse is going to be, well, Greg, now we've got the Democrats on the ropes. Now is not the time to have this internal conflict. Like I said, they're. I'm only laughing because I've heard all of these types of excuses as we've tried to push pro-gun bills. Okay, I've heard them all. It's the same crap, no matter where you are, whether you're in Boise or you're in Casper or wherever. It doesn't matter what state capital you go to or the U.S. Capitol. All the excuses are the same all the time. They never have anything new to come up with. There's always an excuse for these freaking Republicans to not do the right thing, to not do the thing that is bold and that is like a disruption to the system. How many times have we heard um, Republican candidates go on the campaign trail? I'm going to go to D.C. and I'm going to shake things up. I'm going to go there and I'm going to disrupt the system. I'm going to be, and then guess what? They do nothing ever. None of them do. Not one single one of them. And by the way, both of our Idaho delegation, Congressman Fulcher and Congressman Simpson, both voted to keep McCarthy in office. Who, by the way, has said in his leadership role. And McCarthy has said he's not going to run again. So we're going to get a brand new speaker. It would appear, unless McCarthy changes his mind, because he's a liar. So there you go. Um, but how many of these candidates say that? They all do, right? That's what they all promise on the campaign trail. Guess what? 8 of them lived up to that promise. Because I'm telling you right now, that's not an easy thing to do right there. Is to go against the entire system, Republicans and Democrats, and go, nope, you broke your promises. You didn't do the things that you had promised you were going to do. And now we're going to throw you out of office, okay? And then the other big thing that they kept talking about was, well, there's no plan. What's the plan? Okay, look, I don't know what Gates' plan is. I'm not even saying that I like. One of my friends yesterday said Gates' hair looks like something out of the Hunger Games, which is probably true. I don't like the guy's hair. Whatever. Um, he is leading the repeal or the attack on the ATF. Okay, a bill to abolish the ATF for the American Firearms Association. So, we love Matt Gaetz on when it comes to gun stuff. Does he have a plan? I assume they've sat back and said, "Hey, McCarthy's got to go. This is what we're going to do, and here's how we're going to do it." Now, Gates again. None of those 8 people can run for speaker. It'll never happen. They're going to have to find somebody else. But they have. And that's the thing is, if more conservatives stood up, if the entire Freedom Caucus in the Capitol stood up and said, "Hey, we're demanding change," I don't even know how many members are in there now. I thought it was like 20 something. But a small block of 8 people just made a massive change, made a massive difference by getting rid of McCarthy. Now, are we going to get somebody that's, actually good? Again, I don't think so, and I don't really care, to be honest. My point is that this hopefully wakes conservatives up and says, hey, look, a small group of people can make a really, really big difference. There was actually 11 congressmen who refused to table the motion, okay, and then 3 of them bailed on the actual vote itself, which doesn't make any sense to me. You've already tabled the motion, setting up the fight. Like, what were you thinking? And by the way, I was kind of curious if 11 of them had done it. 3% of 365 is 10.95. It's 11 people. Just saying, that would have been kind of cool if all 11 had done it, and then it would have been the 3% that stood up and it did something. But this has the potential, okay, has the potential, I'm not saying it will, has the potential to start a political revolution and how things are done in Washington, D.C. Gates and the gang already got a lot of really good things when they were negotiating with McCarthy for the original speakership. And now, I mean, they've just shown, hey, with that small majority, even though Republicans have a small majority, guess what? That means that the more conservative wing of the party has the ability to stand up and demand that things be different. Because if they don't, they can turn it around. Um, the last thing I want to talk about on this particular issue is, some people on our own side are like, oh, look, you voted with the Democrats. You voted with the Democrats to get rid of the speaker. And you're just like the Democrats. Like, just stop. Like, seriously, stop. It's one of the lamest excuses I ever hear. There's times in our capital where we have had to say, this gun bill has gun control in it. This gun bill isn't going to do anything. We need to make it better. And so we'll tell people, don't vote for this one. Let's bring something a lot better. And then the Democrats also end up voting against it. And they're like, oh, see, Greg, you voted with the gun grabbers and blah, blah, blah. Just shut up. Okay? That's intellectually dishonest. There are times when we want something far more to the right. And so we're like, hey, no, don't do that. Let's do this thing way over here. Okay? Way more on the right. And then the Democrats will end up voting against the bill and killing an issue or whatever. And it happened with campus carry, the original campus carry bill that passed in 2014. We were like, this thing is garbage. Like, we could do way better than this. And the problem is in Idaho, like, once you pass a bill, nobody ever takes it up again for a really long time, most of the time. And we were like, hey, let's not do campus carry this way. Let's do it this way. This could potentially make it a lot worse. Let's not do it this way. And the NRA rep got up in the hearing and was like, see, the ISAA is standing with Moms Demand Action to oppose campus carry. I'm like, dude, you're a freaking liar. You know that's a lie. You just want to support a watered down version of campus carry that you can pass and then let all your crony Republicans take the credit for it. We don't stand for that crap. So Gates disrupted the system yesterday. I love it. I love it. I'm not saying it's going to, we're going to end up with some awesome speaker, but that disruption was, number one, historic, but I hope it's a wake-up call. If you are a congressman or a conservative pundit and you're out defending McCarthy today and playing the whole, oh, it's just not the right time to do this kind of bullcrap, go look at the comments. Go look at the comments because they are filled with angry Americans who are sick and tired of being lied to. They're sick and tired of the false promises in Washington, D.C. They're sick and tired of Washington, D.C. They want disruption to the system. The system is broken. And the Uniparty, which is nearly everybody in Congress, is just going along to get along. Even good people, they go in there and they do what they can to protect their jobs. That's all they care about. They want to protect their jobs. And so they don't like disruption. And that's what Matt Gaetz and 7 others did yesterday. So kudos to them. I'm excited. I think it's fun. And I think it's good and healthy for there to be chaos in Washington, D.C. Maybe they'll stop passing legislation. Maybe we'll stop funding the Ukraine war. Maybe we'll start actually securing our border before crime just goes rampant across this entire country. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the video. Did you support Matt Gaetz' motion yesterday to get rid of McCarthy? Or do you think that something else should have been done? Or what are your thoughts? That's all I've got for now. We'll see you guys on October 14th at noon at the Capitol. God bless.